That's Rishi just started his. Mine needs another. Good. Mine needs one more minute.
1 more minute. Wowie-zow.
But it's all right. We can just start with Rishi's recording, and I'll start mine whenever. Unless you want to give people more time, because we did end late. So I'll leave that up to you, Kathleen.
Shall we start?
And
Okay. Well, again, I want to thank everybody for your patience and sitting through a series of talking heads. That's really not the way we teach. We like to teach to get everyone talking to each other, but somehow this was the format we came up with today. I also want to mention to people that the presentation, the last 2 hours, has been recorded, and it's being shared with the 3 additional groups that are going to be having discussions. This group is Europe and the US because of time zones. Then we have a discussion with people from India tomorrow, and then we have Australia and Asia after that. So there's really quite a number of people going to be having this conversation. So we're going to have a lot of rich data to chew on.
we have South America now as well, Kathleen.
South America is with us now.
Right.
Right. Hi, Renata. So let's see. So what was I saying? Oh,
South
so
Africa. Did good She came back.
did you, RT? Did you have something?
I just said that Didi Nandaguna Maya as well from Africa.
Okay.
This afternoon. Okay.
So I do want to mention, we actually rely quite heavily on data. This is like the most data we will have collected, so we'll have a lot to look at, but our students do evaluations of every course at the end of the course. And if you talk to them, you can probably discover that we actually use the feedback to make changes the next semester. So
Sorry to interrupt you, Kathleen. Rishi, I need to be a co-host so I can record as well. I'm sorry, Kathleen. I apologize.
Yeah. So that's just to tell you that we take these opportunities to hear from you very seriously. It's not just a performance. It really is a way to gather information about how we can do what we're doing better. So thank you for that. We have 3 questions today with 3 breakout groups. And the breakout groups, let me see if I can, will be group 1, I'll be facilitating and RT's taking notes. Group 2 will be Rekha facilitating and Vishvapriya taking notes. And group 3 will be Vishala facilitating and Rishi taking notes. So the process is we'll post the question, we'll have the breakout group, and the note taker will take good notes, and then when we come back from those 24 minutes, the note taker will have about 3 minutes or so to summarize and synthesize what was said. The first breakout group is a mixture of people from all different places, so it's just what we call a mixed group. The second breakout group will be specific to a region or a locale because the question is really about that. And then the third group will go back to mixed groups again. So I don't think I left anything out. I will put all 3 questions in the chat, and then I believe Rishi's putting questions in each of the breakout groups. So RT, are we ready to go with the first question?
Yes.
All right. So really, this is just your opportunity to give us some feedback, to discuss what you see as the strengths of the program, or any additional feedback, any questions that you had, the chance to ask them. And we can take constructive criticism too. We're not too soft-shelled around here. So we look forward to that. And Rishi, I guess you're going to be breaking people up. Do you want to say anything?
The rooms will be opening now. Please join. Didananda Prama, are you able to join okay? Shripriya, are you able to join okay?
What am I supposed to do?
Should see-
Yeah, same thing. I'm having a hard time.
On the bottom there, you should see, it says breakout rooms.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All right, go ahead and click join. Didananda Prama, do you see any icons there to join the breakout room at the bottom of your screen?
Microsoft photo box, photo, bookmark camera,
Okay.
share. Okay, let's see where the icons are. Hmm. Is it under meet and chat?
Yes, or under breakout rooms.
Yeah, I know, but I can't find this breakout room here.
Okay, I'm gonna try and move you
Just
to
tap to speak.
another room, move main session.
Microphone's unmuted. I don't see where the breakout rooms are. I don't see where the breakouts. Is it in the
Are you seeing an icon anywhere pop up?
Are you ready? Rick?
I'm working to get Didananda Prama in a room. She's in the main room. I'm trying to get her in now. She's not able to join.
Yeah, I can't
Prama,
seem to find where is a
are you on a computer or are you on your
I
phone?
know I'm on my phone.
Okay, so
Okay. Okay. I still. I'm at the meeting, but I can't. Hold on.
okay, so when you're on a
Okay, hold on. 1 second.
are you able to see it now? Can't force you to go into the room, unfortunately. You have to click the join button. You don't have any option at the bottom that says breakout room?
No. Oh, there it is.
All right, just go ahead and select that.
Of
More
more
exploration.
of the layers of the mind.
Yeah.
So Reese, I
As
took
well
a
as
few.
Astanga yoga.
What?
As well as Astanga yoga.
Okay. So Reese, I'm just gonna see if I got what you said. Which is that you love the way the course is empowering your way. You're working with especially your staff and training them,
Right.
and that you really really appreciated the Astanga yoga class and the completeness of it, but you'd like to see even more with that, correct?
Yes, and the exploration of the different layers of the mind, because
Right.
it gives the complete panorama of neo-humanism. It
So
touches
she,
the different level of existence of the child as well as individual, right?
right, right,
But all the classes are just like they're supporting. There's all the courses are supporting courses to develop also the humanistic philosophy,
okay.
because we have a lot of philosophy, but we need more methods.
So so good on the philosophy, but looking for more methods.
Yes.
Okay,
And I find that in Astanga Yoga, because they're more like the way Mahajoti presented
right,
the Astanga Yoga. I only know Astanga Yoga on adult level because I'm a teacher. But then attending her class really makes me realize that wow, all these things can be taught to the children: the pratyahara, pranayama, dharana, and
right.
how to experience samadhi, in the form of joyfulness. It's so beautiful. And I like your classes also because it supports, helps them open up their mind and open up their hearts. So it's all interconnected.
Right,
That's
right.
what I can say.
Thank you. It's wonderful feedback. Okay, Renata, you got to experience the first two courses, but you got to see all the other stuff in these little condensed forms. So maybe from your perspective too, of someone that might come back and join again, what are you seeing the strengths and what you might see for something else that could be added in?
Well, I think I strongly had the sensation, the feeling actually of how the program is actually aiming at wholeness of the person, of the being, and how the different forces tried to achieve that. The language, arts, inner, outer integration, knowing the inner and outer worlds, and privileging the emotions, intuition, um, and the senses and thinking. So I think the program is really aiming at the wholeness of the being, and of the interactions. And this is so important because more and more we feel in education people being repetitive, facing and accepting technology as the only answer that might be correct.
Right.
uh, it seems that we're more and more forgetting our humanity, and the living heart of the beings, as we see emphasis being given to technology and repetition and productivity and education. So I felt that this program is really, really important in that sense, because I saw that all the courses, it's all focusing on these things, on, as I said, on the wholeness of the beings and the interaction and the loving that exists. And that is, as we feel in the world, is much forgotten, unfortunately. So I thought that's the biggest strength of the whole program.
So I hear what you're saying is that it's concentrating both on the inner development, the wholeness, and the outer development, and not just like this is the answer, this is the technology, this is the data, this is the test. It sort of gives looks at the teacher and children and everything from a holistic perspective. You felt that was the strength.
Yes, but also seeing and accepting and emphasizing the different dimensions of the being, you
Ah,
know.
this is what Dee Dee was saying about the layers of the mind and the different aspects of Astanga yoga. Yeah.
because what I feel is that education nowadays is so restricted to behaviorism, let's say, let's put it like this.
Right.
And the whole program is focusing on the contrary, is focusing on the wholeness of the person, of the
Right.
intuition, feeling, thinking,
Right. Right.
and this is what I mean.
Thank you. And anything that you were hoping to see that you didn't see yet?
Well, of course. I really would like to see that as soon as possible because I've worked more with teachers and educators more than with children lately. I do work with children because I
Right.
work on projects, not on a school specifically,
Right.
and with the community. So I would love to see, all these things that are related to children, of course, as I work with them, especially on the storytelling.
Right.
But inner outer personal development is something that I've been closer to,
Right.
and I should take this course soon, if possible.
If possible. So you're thinking about teacher training. There's an idea about how do we work with the development of how do the people taking the course, then what Dee Dee also does, work with the development of the teachers or the people that are the one. So it's sort of like in a different level. So it's sort of, if you're working with teachers or you're working with parents, how do you work with them to help them develop into new mystic? Right.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay. So Didi Ananda Jaya, so nice to see you. You're muted though, hon.
You're mute, Didi.
Oh, okay. Namaskar. Now, namaskar. Well, it's been a long time. I really miss the group,
Yeah.
But, what I am thinking about the training was really good technically. But, I think every one of us is a different audience. Like I work in the community.
Right.
And it's a very violent community.
Mm-hmm.
I work with parents and children who come from dysfunctional families. They're like poverty or below poverty level.
Right.
So the mind is complete. The needs, they're different. I think Hinata knows about this thing in Brazil, And humanistic education is a fantastic pedagogy. But I think what I'm focusing now is like the idea, like you have a fantastic philosophy, but if you don't have the right vehicle to put it into practice, it would not work.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing now, I am focusing on the development of the teachers, like personal development. Like I am giving trainings on therapies, make them go through their own hells, like let them process it. You cannot teach what you are not. I believe in that. If you have many things unresolved in your issues, emotionally, in your things, how you can pass it to their own children, it's very, very difficult. I am focusing on this now, I have trainings on personal development. I work with therapists, rebirthing on the teachers. I'm working on constellation, familiar constellation, to let them understand their own self, to really understand their own emotions, to fight their own emotional issues, because I have people who have been raped as children. I have teachers who have these issues. So they have to heal. A little bit of healing has to go through them because they can pass it to the children which have the same issues, And it is my very concern because I am in this area which I'm working. It is really.
That's why I really pushed hard. That's why I really pushed hard for that social context of the classroom course next year, Didi.
Yeah, and I'm really struggling with it because, and I feel now the quality of teachers has run very down. It's not like before. Teachers are there because they think in the university, pedagogy is the cheapest course. So there's no like, this missionary seal is gone. You really have to take it out from the people. Really take it, make them diamonds out of crushed stones. It takes process really to be patient with them, sit with them, really go through their minds. And it's exhausting. I have 75 employees. There are 4 projects. I have 75 employees. I have 450 children. And I'm alone going through all these things, and it's hard, and it's really hard. It cost me my health, really. I'm constantly being sick because that's why I have to drop out of the course, because I could not manage, like there's a lot of assignments, a lot of it, I couldn't cope with it.
Right.
And it's really, I really wanted to do it. I wanted to learn more, but I don't have that brains enough to sit down and look through, because every day is different. I have now, especially this year, I have babies. I have 30 days babies. I have 30 days to 9 years old children with me. So each school is different from the other. So I have to be constantly changing channels on each school because it's different. I have to, like my trainings with them depends on the needs. I design my trainings on that. Not how I wanted it, but how the needs of the people at the time, and how it corresponds with the children at that time. That's how I arrange the trainings that I do.
So yes, Dee Dee, just a second. I hear what you're saying is that there's a need for working with and how to take from a humanistic perspective to work with the systems of that the family systems and the cultural systems, if it's also including a lot of violence and trauma, with the teachers and with the children in their system, that what the system they're in, and how to work with that, and how to be with that, and how to support you, Dee Dee, in that, as being the leader in that. So if you're the leader in that, because you're not the only leader of a school in this kind of situation that I've talked to, after the course is over, about how do I support myself in that so that you don't go down, And I know I know that quite well. So I think that would be a need, Reese, in the notes. And maybe it'll be a specialization in the future, or maybe a course that we teach again that goes more into depth, because the course I took was 2 classes. You can't go into that kind of depth with, when Bishopita had his whole piece, but then I had like 2 classes to do all that. You can't do it. So I get it. Didi Anandatapati, though, I want to get your thinking, because you had something to add on that. Go ahead.
Appreciate whatever you have taught us. They're so wonderful tools to deal with the emotion and mental attitude of the teachers, and as well as the children and the parents. I know Didi very well. What I can suggest is that she has to learn also to distribute, to share her responsibility. You cannot take
I
all.
do. I have directors.
Take the necessary, take the
and
necessary help of
teachers in each project, but it's
well,
hard.
wait, Didi, let me finish because I know you very well. And then you can ask, if you have good connection with the government, ask people who can help your teachers in therapy, how to do management. In that way, you just supervise them and not you doing all the work.
Didi, I don't do all the work. I look for specialists. The therapists that I ask, they are really very good people in their field. I get for them free. They come to do it for me free. They do it for me. They do how to storytelling, how to do paintings about that. They do a lot of emotional therapies on that, Vivint, they call it vivencias. It helped them a lot to process their own things, which really helped them a lot, But
can I ask a question? 'Cause I'm curious, one of the things that we're talking about is a very personalized experience for each. So for example, Didi Nanajaya, you may have such a very unique context that you're trying to figure out how do I apply what I'm learning in my specific situation. It's literally changing day by day, week by week, new scenarios are coming in. One of the models that we're talking about doing, and I just want to get your initial reaction to it, is more of a self-paced learning. So basically, rather than necessarily meeting every single week or twice a week, you would actually meet kind of like in a mentorship basis with a faculty member. So you would go through the content, and then it would be like a one-on-one. It's like, for example, let's say Vishal was your instructor. You would meet one-on-one with her to review the content, but it would be more from a fact of how is this applying in your social context? What are questions do you have? What are some exercises that we can discuss, or, specific unique questions? Because like in a setting with 20 people, Hima Prabha and Didi Nantapati, they may have completely different questions, and 50 minutes might be talking about one particular concern, whereas if it was a one-on-one basis, everyone got the same knowledge, you could go through at your own pace, but then when you met with someone, it was really just focused on your needs. Does that sound like it would address some of the concerns, or do you still think that what you're asking could be done in a classroom setting where everyone's meeting together?
I think I need to explain how the projects are structured. There are 4 projects. Each project has a director, and each project has a head teacher that deals with the teachers. So I deal principally directly with the director. Once in a month, I have an RDS, like an RDS type of the directors. We discuss everything. Then I had a meetings once in a month with the head teachers. We discuss the pedagogic side, the teachers and the pedagogic side, and the children. We discussed one by one, and we try to brainstorm on how we will deal with the problems. I don't do it alone. And then we discuss whom we will ask to help us do a training, which training we will need to solve this problem. I have a team to do that, not me.
Well, I think that what I hear you saying is that there is a need to deal with these specific different social contexts in the terms of the training in the program. And I hear Didi saying to you, she's looking to support you, just like we're all looking to support each other. She loves you and she doesn't want to see you distressed, and she wants to support you. So you should just take a moment and take in that support. So wait.
What did he?
Matter of fact, we can all kind of look at you and just give you some support right now, and actually look at each other and give each other support right now, and take a moment to do that. Because I hear, yes, go ahead, Didi.
The duty of the director is to work with the head teachers. So if you want, Didi, you can, together with the director, work with the head teachers, not you directly working with the head teachers. But if you want, still work with the director, and if you want to work with the head teachers, because you're taking too much responsibility, and that is why it's taking a toll of your health. Look at you had to go to detox and all this program to make yourself healthy. But in fact, don't laugh at me. But in fact, you can do it yourself. You distributing your duties to other staff that you have. What for you have the director,
She's so wanting to take care of you, Didi. Do you see this?
Yes, but reality is different, actually. Michelle, the schools I think Hinata can understand more how the schools in Brazil are structured, like you are dealing with a school with 120 children, 130 children, not 20. So
no, I totally get that, Didi.
It's very different, like that, and since
we have to go back, but this is important to have this discussion. we have to, we have 22 seconds left.
And
It's about
the
separate,
head teacher are really very overworked, in that,
well, it's about separating Dee Dee. The issue really is and I think this is what Dee Dee's trying to tell you, is it's separating your fate from the children's fate, and their fate and what.
Welcome back.
I believe at this point, we need to hear from each of the note takers then, a summary. So Archie, do you want to start with group one?
Okay, I highlighted some things and it's going to be a little random because I didn't get time to like really organize it. Okay, people felt this should definitely be shared with a large, overwhelmingly positive reviews, but it should be shared with a larger audience. And the challenge is how to make it stand out among all the new ideas that are out there, and to present it as the best alternative to what there is out there. So how to get that message out? One person pointed out that what they saw this morning was lacking in computer, mathematics, geometry, perhaps business, and then we then realized that, oh, that's what's happening in the second year of the program. So that will be covered. Let's see. One of the people was a student in the course and said that the course had given her a lot more confidence to really present new humanist education. And she's also working in a school and to present it to a wider audience, to present it to the community, and to also to the staff. Let's see. Faculty and staff are very, very qualified, high intellectual level, strong dedication, sense of purpose, very clear objectives, lots of cohesion. People appreciated that it was presented in a very contextualized in terms of contemporary education, which makes it more accessible. And there was a suggestion to do a little bit more comparing of it to conventional education in the sense of critiquing what's there and showing how NHE can can correct those, what's lacking, and building on what's good that exists, but showing more clearly how, how it addresses what's not there. And that it was great that it begins with a strong philosophical foundation. So those were the comments. I pass it on to the next note taker. Unless Kathleen, you want to say
guys covered a lot.
Kathleen, did you want to say anything more about our group? No, you're muted, just so you know.
You covered it well.
Okay, I just basically typed what you said, everybody said. Okay.
So in the second group, I think that there were two main focuses that several people mentioned. The first was the structure of the program, that is starting with a philosophical foundation and then building on, above that. And this, one of the things, let's see, in the structure, the way that it's structured, almost like a pyramid or an inverted pyramid, that there are a lot of intuitive feelings that teachers have about how they should be operating in the classroom. But because of many of the conventional ways that teachers are trained, they aren't encouraged to respond to those intuitive feelings. But the way that the philosophy was presented and then ultimately explained, the methodologies were so clearly explained in a scientific way with a rational approach to it that confirmed many of the students' intuitive feelings about how they should be teaching. And so this was the first point, was the way that the program was structured led to a greater understanding of the intuitive response of the teacher. and brought in the use of rational scientific explanation for why neo-humanism works. The second thing, the word that kept it coming up was inspiration. And those people in our group that had taken the course talked about how inspired they were at a very personal level, how they felt, confidence and inspiration to use the arts in particular, that was mentioned, and how to use and play, and the importance of fun and play in the classroom. So the whole program is very inspirational to those people who were able to to keep up with it. The last thing which was mentioned was the need to. I just had a plane come overhead really close. Had a need to develop techniques so that teachers can adapt existing curricula that they are forced to use in their jobs, in their school systems, in their state requirements, that kind of thing. How to adapt neo-humanism to existing curriculum already. So that was something that came up at the end of our conversation. And the other thing that's kind of a side note, and we may be already taking care of this with the forum, but the fact that there are many schools that are opening now, and they're all needing teachers. And we have teachers that are being trained. So somehow we need to link the two, the schools that need teachers and the teachers who need jobs. So I'm not sure that I've seen that on the forum, but some kind of a job posting service that we might provide. And that's group 2.
I believe we're ready for group 3.
I'm just curious if there's anything to add. Any group 2 people have anything to add to that from what she summarized?
Yeah, I was about to answer Aaron's question, no? That he was wondering how we apply locally, because some of the things that Kathleen mentioned in the course looks difficult to apply in certain places. And what I realized is that the students, we take the main ideas, and then because we have assignments, we have to apply them in practice according to our own limitations. In my case, whenever I felt difficult, then I explain it in detail. The field, how is the field in detail to the instructors, and then they really guide me. Yeah, so I feel a lot of different things here that I thought I can never apply, like emergent activity, to let the children see what they want to do, like what is really hard because the lack of initiative here. But they change a lot. I see children now here making questions, it's so wonderful to see it. So I think the instructors, they really took care of us, but it's up to us to deal with the challenges in the field. We have to really study what we can do and struggle.
Yeah, if I understand
Thank you,
correctly, Didi, you're reminding us of the importance of the local culture and really becoming grounded in the realities of the site.
There was also a question in our group about how we have followed up with those that couldn't complete the program. And so I mentioned that that's in process, and that we do have a few people who are working on completing now, but that had to drop the program at one point. But it's something that we want to keep some close data on. So I think that covers group 2 now.
And I'll add, Rekha, that we want to make it as easy as possible. We're trying to not be punitive at all in this program, but to really encourage people, and build on their capacity.
Yeah, we really work with our students.
So group 3,
I can cover
and
that.
that would be Rishi, you were the note taker.
Yeah, so picking up off of the last theme there, just, some feedback around, how do we continue to strengthen the way we teach that is really responsive to the different social contexts that our students are in. There was definitely some positive around how students felt empowered through the curriculum to really work with staff and training them. Very excited about the Ashtanga Yoga, that we can teach those concepts to young children, and it can actually be very fun and informative. The class around Inside Out really felt like it was opening up the heart and mind and really felt connected. And a real theme around wholeness, kind of great feedback that the program was focusing more on the wholeness of the whole person and looking at the different, each course was really looking at a different way in which the wholeness of that person can be nourished, integrated, looking through it from a lens of movement, from emotion, from intuition, sensing, thinking, which felt like a big contrast compared to other educational methods that are really focused on repeating the same concepts, looking at being more productive versus that kind of loving and feeling interaction. So that was a big theme. The training was good technically. And I think, again, just the whole concept around how do we continue to rebirth teachers in different contexts through having a very customized approach, whether that's done through mentoring or they're in class or out of class learning activities. And Vishal, if there's some other themes you felt like we should make sure to highlight.
You're muted.
Am I unmuted now? I think that there was also a discussion about how useful the Ashtanga Yoga was in terms of actually seeing how that would work and wanting to see the same for the layers of the mind in terms of how to work with teachers with using the layers of the mind in the way that they saw it being showed for Ashtanga Yoga. The other thing is I think that we had 2 people that aren't able to continue. And so that was really good feedback in terms of what was happening for them and what their needs are. And some of them are in very difficult social context, situations where the social context of the families, of the teachers and the trauma of the teachers and the students was very difficult. And so there's just like a question and need about how to address that more. So.
Great. Does anybody have anything they'd like to say at this point in relation to question number 1 that maybe didn't get said?
There was one comment in the chat.
Yeah, Arun, why don't you just share your comment that you put in the chat?
Rishi, you can read it.
Here was an excellent emphasis on philosophy at the base of Nehumans, because that is the aspect that's most likely to, or least likely to change, and being grounded in it allows us to be fluid and flexible according to time, place, and person, with the development of other aspects of our movement, such as method and then curriculum.
I think that was just a great way to start. And I thank you for it.
Great. Thank you.
Kathleen, you're going to introduce the second question, but
Are we ready to go on to question number 2?
just Rishi, it was probably very complicated for you to do the groups. I see they ended up very differently than what we had originally thought for that group, but that's fine. But for this one, let's make sure you're in a group with your location. So there's one for South America, and Didi Nandagunamaya will be in that one with South America, and then one for Europe and one for the US. So if you're not in a group that's for your location, well, let's just make sure about that, okay, Rishi?
So if he's in the location for the US, then he's not taking he's not taking notes for me.
No, he can do it.
Yeah, I think there were just some names that weren't on the list, and so that's, we kind of just had to put people in.
I'm
groups.
sure it was very, very difficult. You did a
But
great
we
job, and
do
it was
have
fine.
Arati Arun, Mahesh Fernanda, Didi Nandaram, and Kathleen in group 1. Angela, Didi Ananda Tapati, Tapamaya, Didi Ananda Tapamaya, Didi Ananda Prama, Emma, Reka, and Vishwapriya in group 2. And then Nanda Gunamaya, Ananda Jaya, Himapravam, Mahavir, and Vishal, and myself in group 3. Would we
Perfect.
make any
Perfect.
adjustments?
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Rishi.
All right, so for this breakout,
To say the
for this
question.
breakout group, we're really wanting to look at what you need locally or engine. What do you see and how can we help make this happen?
And Kathleen, I think that's open-ended by design. So
Kathleen's frozen, so.
okay, so I think Kathleen's referring to, making things local, but looking exactly at what your local needs are and how we can help you, whether it be by small classes, workshops. Kathleen, can we hear you now? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, she's back, but you're muted.
Yeah. Yes, just what you need in your local area. What would serve you best and how could we be of help?
All right, the prompt is in the chat for those that want to take a note of it, and we'll open up the rooms now. Please join.
I had to solve a quick problem over here. I had to step out, but I'm back.
So, so the question again is, how do we meet the needs through this teacher preparation program? How do we meet the needs for the local environment that you are in? How do we see aspects of this program supporting what you need locally or what you need to make, and what do you need to make this happen?
Should I speak now?
Sure, you can start.
Okay. Well, namaskar. My name is Mahavir. I'm seeing Didi Jaya for the first time. Didi Jaya is in São Paulo, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
You are the Mahavir I'm always talking to?
Yes, it's me.
Oh, glad to meet you.
You too. I hope to meet you in person someday. Karuna Devi said that you might come to Rio sometime so we can meet personally. But I will answer the question. So I am not a elementary or high school teacher. I've taught mostly in universities, although I have taught in high school before. So I'm not best equipped to answer this question, but I would say in general, I think this is just my opinion, but I think education is kind of weak here in Brazil. It's very weak compared to other countries. So in that sense, the program that I see being built, at least from the course content, is creating a very strong education with strong principles, strong philosophical basis. So I think I see that as something positive, and that's something that can meet the needs. Right, there's a need for good quality education with that's organized, that's coordinated, that has a purpose and a mission and things like that. Maybe one of the biggest challenges here is that I guess we could call it psychoeconomic. I'll just call it exploitation, but conditioning. So in Brazil, because the education system is weak, it's easily influenced by let's just say powerful interests, and those interests sort of have convinced the population that education should serve to prepare students to take an exam, a qualifying exam for university, and that going to university, they will then be able to have a better life, a middle class life. So for a country where the majority of the population is poor, the parents at least they almost demand an education that has this specific aim of passing one exam to enter university. So presenting an alternative form of education in a country where the conventional education is not very strong, I see as a particular challenge, because why am I saying this? Because in one sense, I totally believe it fulfills the need of having a quality education. On the other hand, I think that it doesn't fulfill the desire or the want, maybe of a lot of these families, particularly middle class families who want to have their children go to university and pass this exam. Like it's like an SAT type exam. So the reason I'm saying that is because I don't know how neo-humanist education at a higher level, at the high school level, let's say, how it can dialogue with people who have that mentality that education is more utility oriented, I guess. At the lower education level, I think it, from what I can see, it fills the gap, right? Where there's a lack of schools, lack of loving, caring teachers, that loving, caring environment. I think in that sense, I don't see any problems. We just need more schools. Didi Jayo would probably be able to speak more about that.
So are you saying that that this program looks wonderful and you feel that there is a need, but you're not sure that the families see that need because they're so focused on the economics of passing this exam and going to university? So it's about, is that correct?
Yes, particularly at the secondary school level.
Okay.
I don't think at the primary school level, I don't think that really enters into play so much.
You have to start with the primary school level there, and how you might introduce things at a primary level to begin with.
Honestly, I think Didi Jaya would be better to answer that question, because I have no experience at the primary level. I have a daughter who's at the primary school level, so and honestly, she's at an excellent school. My daughter's at my wife's a teacher at the American school, and
Right.
It's one of the best schools in Brazil, and of course it's an elitist school, but a lot of what they're doing, their values, their mission, dialogues with some neo-humanist values. Obviously, there's a lot that doesn't fit with neo-humanism, but I think that but in general, it's not the case. I think with most primary school, it's very, very far from a neo-humanist approach.
So your need
But
is to figure out where to hook all this wonderful stuff in and where to start. That's what I'm hearing.
I think so. Yeah, like we need to create schools here, and
Okay.
um,
Okay. Okay. Didi, why don't you try to go next? He was pointing to you. So do you want to speak?
Me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Namaskar. If I have a different point of view, many things. Like I work a humanistic education is very, very important. The principles is like a guiding line. If from 0 to 7 years old, 85% of the intelligence, the character, a personality of a human being are formed. I focus on that. Create a child that is integrated, integral, so that he can deal with the 15% to build his personality is very little of the 85% that you have in your hand, like in Brazil, they call it educação infantil, childhood education. So I really try to focus on the child education to make their 85% of their personality really work properly. Like we work in Brazil, called acolhimento, give them too much love, give them too much sense of being, too much being of goodness, and teach them a lot of values. And I always use, when we plan the teachers, I always use the levels of the mind in everything we do. We all use the levels of the mind. So that's what I do.
So how do you see this program, and what do you need from it?
I try, like from the program, I try to
From
understand
the teacher education program I'm talking about.
From the teaching program, yes. From that, I was able to get the principles that I need to explain what I'm doing, like the practical, the abstract, intellectual thing to explain the things that we are doing. It is like this.
And what else might you need?
I need actually structures on how to work with my teachers. Like I'm really on the individual development of the teacher, because if the teacher is not developed, how can they teach? You cannot teach what you're not. That is my principle. So I focus myself on the teachers. Most of my teachers are pedagogues. So technical things, maybe it could be tradition, they have. But you really have to work on the goodness of the teacher, and really to work on that they feel that it's their mission to build the child. It's the responsibility that the future of the child is in their hands, and the future of the world is in the hands of the children. It's a mission that really have to. They can build or destroy a child, and I really put that on their brains.
So so if the New Mystic College of Asheville could help with teacher training also.
Yes.
That would be something that would be helpful.
Not more technical, but more in-depth, deeper.
Deeper, and dealing with their own issues and their own family systems and the kids that they're working with, so the kids don't trigger them and they don't trigger the kids. Yes, I know. Yes.
That is my biggest issue.
Yes. Didi Anandagun, I'm sorry I'm going around, but Didi, I'm sorry, who would like to go next? Renata, do you want to, you look like you're about ready to talk, so go ahead. And then we'll make sure we save room for Didi Anandagun Maya. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to agree with Didi Jaya, on the needs of the teachers, and also connecting this to the biggest social inequality that there is in Brazil. And we're all Brazilians here, I guess, because Juliana Nakunamaya is Brazilian too, so we all know what we're talking about. There is a wonderful cultural diversity in this country. We have not been given the chance of structuring it, of expressing it, of organizing it properly, so to build up the potential. I think we feel that in public schools pretty much, and in all levels. So I think this program, as Didi Jaya said, would be to more locally and more deeply and practically help the teachers apply the principles of new humanism. That's what I wanted to say.
So how to give the teachers some of that base that Didi said she got from those first 2 courses of neo-humanism, and then how to apply it practically for them.
Yes.
So they have the base, and then they can apply it.
Yes, I feel that too. Whenever I develop a project with teachers, this is something that I would like to improve as well, you know, how to pass it on to other teachers. We do talk about philosophy, we do some things and practices, but I think it needs to be enhanced, you know, that's what I think. It needs to be more practical and adjusted to the local and social inequality that exists, I think, not only in Brazil, but in other countries too. And I think Didi Ananda Gunamaya can talk a little bit about this, what she does in Africa, because it's really, the philosophy is wonderful, but as Didi Jaya said, the reality is so tough. The reality is so hard, you know, and she feels her energy being drained. And so how to balance this, you know, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I'm just laughing because Baba's just like, I'm sorry, I'm just saying that. He's just putting me in this group here because this is what I
Yeah,
dealt with for decades. I worked in an inner city school as the only school counselor of 650 students with all these problems Didi and Dandajai is talking about. Just so much. So I totally get it. I know. And I ended up working with the teachers. That's what I ended up doing. I mean, I worked with the students, but I really worked with the teachers to support them. Didi and Nanda,
Michelle,
what?
I started to do a program with the mothers. I'm doing a program with the mother like self-esteem, raising the self-esteem of the mothers, because I realized you do and the parents undo. So it's a black hole, it's never ending. So I try to work on the mothers as a course of self-esteem. And a lot of my mothers, 85% of my mothers went back to school. Look, went back to first grade, second grade, third grade, but they went back studying. So it really, and this type of work I need to be doing, you know. So it's actually school is, you have to go beyond to help the children. You have to go beyond it.
You have to go into the family system. That's what you have
You
to
have
do.
to integrate. You have to integrate in the needs of the community.
I
Then
need
only
to
then
send
you work. It has to be done.
Right. I need to send you parent circle stuff because that's what they're doing in South Africa. Anyways, Didi Ananda Gunamaya, thank you, Didi. Yes, 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 yes. Didi Ananda Gunamaya, go ahead. What do you want to share? If she's there. Didi Ananda Gunamaya, are you there? You're muted if you're there. Ah, there you are.
Okay. 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, I'll call you back. Kushi, somebody's calling me here. Namaskar.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got a sponsor.
Oh, we can't hear you. Try again, Didi.
Calling and asking what help I need. So sorry, it's not every day to happen. I'm
Okay.
not sure. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Sorry,
I
my
can hear.
connection.
We
My
can.
internet is no good. Let me close the camera.
Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
so yeah, I think here in my field is Ghana, Africa, West Africa. So what badly we need, when I see society, how it moves, is leadership, creativity, sense of initiative, responsibility, and unity. So these things are lacking here greatly. And I think in part is because the system of respecting the elders, is they are very disciplined on respecting the elders. I am also from Brazil, so that we don't have this. But at the same time, it is done killing the sense of leadership, killing the sense of creativity, So what in this curse that I feel is the most health, healing is the descriptive inquiry. The descriptive inquiry, really, it helped me a lot when I start to analyze child per child and then try to, balance to keep this system of respecting the elders, but at the same time, let them free to communicate, also exchange ideas that this is like dead here, and to to keep the creativity flowing, because here's the case that, when the child's creativity would say she's naughty, he is naughty, he doesn't behave well, there is not the sense of appreciation. So we have Margis here in the city, they lack a lot of, sense of initiative. They are very disciplined, but they cannot help because they lack of responsibility. So for me, what we really need is the inquisitive description. I don't know how to pronounce this well, but I think this is one way. I'm trying to introduce for the teachers. I told we open the school 1 week before, so we can pass it to the few students that will come in the first week. And to pass it for the teachers a little challenge. What Mahavir was talking about adjusting the curriculum also is interesting because it's more formal. It can be more accepted because it follow a little bit the standards what are used, but it incorporates like creativity activities and art, so I think it's not a big deal to adjust it here. Even if you teach spirituality, you can do it in if the country like French colonized country here, they don't accept spirituality, in schools, in education, but still you can find a way without use the word God, so I think the curriculum that she gave is helping a lot also. I don't know how to create the sense of unity that they need so much, that they see that they can come together and they fight for their rights.
When you say they, do you mean the teachers or the parents or the Margies or all?
The children, because they'll be adults one day. And the adults, you'll be the leaders. And they need also to learn how to come together, not fight between themselves. Here, when you don't have lights, maybe 5 days, no electricity, and they live per day. They need to work to eat per day. So they start to fight between themselves instead to go, and approach government. So they don't have that unit, So one thing that I felt that can help is the group activities that I never did it before here, that the children work together for a project by themselves. I did it, but I did it with a teacher guiding them. But now is the case that how Kathleen taught us, like the ideas from the project, like emergent activity, you come from the children themselves, and then the teachers just participate, just guide the minimum possible. So I think this can help unity, but I don't know yet. I didn't figure yet what more can help them to develop this sense of unity. Of course, spirituality, yes, but to put hands together, to work together. I don't
do this work.
So you're saying that, I don't know where that sound is coming from. Oh, must be Didi Nandajaya. So I hear that you're.
Yes, it's me.
Oh, is it you? The fuzzy sound?
It's my phone. It's my phone, but I don't know how to answer it. I'm not that high tech, so I have to just turn it off,
Okay. Lucy, could you
Oh my God, wait a minute, I have to go out.
No, just mute yourself. It's fine.
I don't know how to do it.
No problem. We can hear you, Vishala. You can talk.
Don't worry about it. It sounds like you are looking at the program, helping you find ways to create this belonging and unity with the students in the classroom.
Yes. But one thing also that Didi Devapriya cursed to help also, that she gave that idea. First, I should love myself. I have my own identity. Then I love my circle, my family. Then I love my community.
Right.
Then finally you love everybody. And I think this also we work on it. Because here in Accra we have all the tribes coming to the big town. So we did it. We every week we introduce one tribe for all the children, and the nice things and the nice dance, the nice stories, the way they dress, the food they eat, and we did it all in fun way. So some of the children in the beginning, they say, I don't have tribal, I English tribal, because some of the parents, they don't allow children to speak local language in the house. But it has been wonderful. The children who didn't like, now they say, Anhaga, and
You're trying
the
to
minority, the tribes that are minority, they also feel important because we got 1 week only for the tribe,
Right.
So, and then we have community activity that I learned also from Catherine. We have to bring ideas to complete our assignments. So they choose their favorite tribe, not favorite tribe, no, a tribe that they want to draw in the color, and then they'll paste it in the family, circle of family, that they have the world, the planet.
So what I
first myself.
So we have to leave, but what I hear you saying is that you're taking different aspects of the program and trying to see how you can introduce them into the culture that you're at. Yes. And now I think we have so that's amazing that you're taking all those aspects and how can I work with the kids and their families and the tribes and the teachers, and so that's amazing. Thank you, Dee Dee, for sharing that. So now
All right, I believe everybody's back. Sorry if you all got cut off like we did. But let's hear from the note takers. Shall we go in the same order or reverse order? Vishala, go ahead and start.
Well, Rishi should start.
Rishi took the notes, right?
So we're going the opposite. Let me see here. So
Tell us what locale you were in.
So we had mostly, everyone's actually had roots in Brazil, though one DD was working in Africa. So, some themes that came up for us were, how do we appeal to teachers that are teaching adults? I think we do have a variety of, or at least one person in our group that was focused on post-secondary, I guess what you would call it, high school and beyond. And there's definitely a weakness in the educational framework. So, how do we empower teachers that are at different levels of the educational spectrum to bring in that neo-humanist philosophy and base and practice, to create some organization with coordinated purpose and mission, which seems to be the biggest gap in Brazil. There's a lot of exploitation. Education feels like it's really influenced by the dominant power structures, and mostly it's just about passing an exam to go to college in order to get a job. So how does neo-humanism, of course, empower teachers to address that context and apply from that perspective when they don't have the luxury of starting at the ground level, at elementary, kindergarten, et cetera. So that being a really important part of it. Creating a child that's integrated. There was some conversation around, that need to focus on the teacher and their well-being and how they interact with, the systems that they're in. So not just the student, but really the parents and the families and the tribes, and really how to create that feeling and sense of unity and connectedness that goes beyond just that in-classroom kind of pedagogical interaction. So I think, there's definitely a need around leadership that was brought up, and having healthy communication. And again, that creative ways to generate a sense of unity, whether that's through collective activities for students, where teachers are facilitators, but really it's the students that are forming a kind of collective mind and learning what it means to work together. And just, how to acknowledge that drain that can come from being in these very challenging contexts, and what kind of self-care focus, how much do we put in terms of the self-care piece of it, so teachers are really well balanced in themselves when they go into the classroom context. And Michelle, if there's another theme you feel is real important that it,
This came from, both groups, we had Brazilians in both groups, and really the thing that sort of came, I don't know if it's because I was the facilitator and I taught the course, is that, how is the program meeting the needs of when we're dealing with teachers who have experienced like trauma, sexual assault, and then they're in a classroom with students that are experiencing that? And how do we then bring our neo-humanism and ideas and the healing and the play and the love into all of that? And just we just kind of gotten in a discussion about that's the need at that level, and then in the middle class and upper level there's the need, like this push to pass the test. And in Africa it's the tribal thing. So just a discussion about maybe, and this has come now but will come later, about how to take what we've learned now and put it in that practical context of where we're working. Does that sort of say what people were saying? Yeah.
thank you, Michelle.
All right. I believe we're ready for Artie.
Oh, we're the last. Okay.
Oh, we were going backwards.
Oh, I missed somebody, didn't I?
Well, I would be in the middle, but I was in the middle the last time.
Vishvapriya.
Okay. Okay, so our group is primarily from Europe, England, Denmark, Ireland, Finland, right. This group was interesting. They kind of took the conversation into a larger context, and that is the context of the community of the school that includes parents, sympathizers, inspectors, all of the people that are ancillary in some way. They're not students, but they're all related to the school in other ways. And the plea is to get some help in creating ways to communicate to these various groups of people what neo-humanist education is all about. Specifically, there's an interest in the layers of the mind and the Ashtanga yoga part of our curriculum. And there's some suggestion that maybe having a monthly online presentation and each month have a different aspect of neo-humanist education for those stakeholders that are interested, either as parents or as sympathizers to the school. And they would like some assistance in developing a communication program like that. One of the other kind of major concepts that emerged was the need for self-paced learning and smaller learning modules that teachers who already have, like one in our group already has a master's in early childhood education. And she's been studying neo-humanism for 25 years. So there are specific things that she would want to be studying that are going to be beyond, your basic introductory course. So, and also this is the kind of people who are the directors of the schools and the head teachers and this kind of thing. They don't have the time, and we've discovered that with our first cohort, was the time commitment was so great that many people, just given their work circumstances, and these are a lot of the DDs who are working, not only the schools, but also all the other service projects in their community. So the idea that we could produce materials that were self-paced. Now the college already has one course that's like that on leadership in another department. But there's a real need out there for people to be able to control the time that they have to put into the study. So more self-study kinds of modules, including, there was suggestion of the YouTube videos, some getting our materials out into the public. Facebook, I don't know, I don't use Facebook, but do they put videos on Facebook? I left Facebook and Twitter long ago. So let's see. Oh, one, and this is a repeat, but so, the more we repeat something, the more important it becomes, I think.
What I would add to that, Vishwapriya, was that that need for networking with people who are in similar circumstances,
Right.
people who are also interested in like administration or research, or aspects like that, and being
So
able to.
chat groups, for example.
There you go.
Yeah, this is my next point, I think.
Okay.
Well, we also talked about how to analyze, some help in how to analyze what's given to you in your school, and it likely is not, it's not in an under-market school. Try to analyze what's already given in the curriculum, the requirements of the local or the state or the federal, whatever the structure, governmental structure is. But there needs to be some assistance in helping integrate the philosophy of neo-humanism into what already exists. So we've already had that point in the last conversation. Okay, so yeah, the need for, and we saw this with the cohort, the need to create a network of like-minded people who are working with similar issues to be able to meet together electronically and to discuss the issues that are of concern to them. So the last point is about advertising. Interestingly enough, there was some concern that nobody's heard of the Neo-Humanist College of Asheville, which is not horribly surprising because we've only been open for a year. But recruitment, how are we going to recruit our next cohort? How do we recruit people to all the various classes that we're beginning to open up, both inside the education department and also in the other disciplines that we have? Basically, how can we expand our relationship to the public so that we become a known entity in our universe? And that was kind of the last thing that we talked about.
Great.
Reka,
All right.
how'd I do?
I think you did great. Thanks.
There's a lot to digest.
Artie, you're on.
Oh, and in the chat, there's please like our Facebook page.
I can't. I don't do Facebook.
Okay, so this was the US and it was a very small group because basically we had one school represented. New Day School couldn't show up at the last minute. So as a question of local needs, Arun was saying he spent the last 8 weeks looking for teachers for his school and what would be the possibility of graduating students from this NHE teacher preparation program to do a practicum at his school. He needs teachers who are trained and it's hard to train them on the job. So he said that he could see every teacher in his school could benefit from the descriptive inquiry course. So we talked about the possibility of making that course available to his teachers. Nothing specific, but just started that conversation. Well, okay. Right, we were noting that in the United States, it's very hard to start a private school. Most people in the United States want to take courses that will help them get a job. And the problem is, they want a job that's going to pay them well. And so, for example, at the progressive school, they can't at all compete with the salary that teachers make in a government school. So it's hard to attract people. If money wasn't an issue, they would have people knocking at their door because they would love to teach there. They just, they also need or want a higher salary. And we're noticing how, noting that the River School, where the government pays equal salary to private and government schools, that's not an issue. So they can get many teachers there. And we noted how lots and lots of teachers would be interested to learn how they could do their job differently because they're all fed up with the pressure of teaching to the test. But in general, the personalities of teachers are that they're not really radical people. And so they're not going to be overturning the educational system. So they have, but by nature of being teachers, many of them are already very intuitively inclined, so they know what the kids need, and they would love to do that, but they are very constrained. So then, that's about as far as we got with that question. And we kind of switched gears, and we heard about an exciting program happening at the Progressive School. I think most of the people here know about the Progressive School, but if you don't, it's been in operation for over 30 years. Maybe it's 35 at this point. I don't know. But so they've been, reaching out to the community in many different ways. And the latest is they've got a grant from Hofstra to create their own courses that will be made available to all over Long Island, to clubs and after school programs and like that. And it's all NHE content that they've created themselves. In fact, Amal at the school has created the courses. The content in public schools is very stagnant, and content at the Progressive School is all neo-humanistic, and they have a lot to offer there. So they've created 10 courses, and I couldn't write them down fast enough. So the ones that I wrote down were The World Without a Forest, The Art of Reasoning, How Big is the Universe, and there were like 7 more. It's not clear at this point whether those courses can be made available to other NHE schools, because they have, some kind of contract with Hofstra, so he has to look into that. But so through his school, he's reaching out to the NHE community, but we couldn't figure out a way in this current climate of the US how we could be furthering the NHE teacher preparation program, except through NH College of Asheville, which, we've started doing. And then we have just like 5 minutes or less to talk to Didi, who was there, about India. There's a whole session devoted to India tomorrow. But she made a very interesting suggestion and observation. She says there are 900 schools in India, and really nobody knows what anybody's doing in those schools. And she was thinking of undertaking a big effort to have each of those schools create a 2-minute video of what they're doing, so we start to get a sense of what's going on in those schools, and then maybe be able to start to assist them. So what did I leave out, Kathleen, Arun, Nadamesh, Didi? That's what I gleaned from my notes.
Looks fine.
Are those
Just
courses?
to emphasize that the courses are for kids.
Right.
Arun's developing content for children. Yeah.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I should have said that. The courses were created for children, and so they're reaching the teachers indirectly, because the teachers now, well, they won't be trained neo-humanist teachers, but they'll have to be offering these courses, and by that, then they'll be like, oh, wow, this is an amazing course. So that will touch them. So it's an indirect way to reach the teachers. But
well, I think it's worth noting that, at least in Vermont, and I think in a lot of other places too, there's a new emphasis on what's called extended learning opportunities. And this can include after school programs and community-based programs. And I think that's the lever that people who are not equipped to start a school, you can start a program that's really compelling, just like Arun is doing with this content, and they're in dire need. After school programs, outdoor education, there's so many peripheral entities that can make use of really good content. And I would think that would be a really good access point into schools.
So these are after school programs.
There's after school
clubs. Arun, you should speak to that question.
The courses can be used in school and after school. They can be used by anybody who sees the need. Like they could be used in clubs. They can be used as part of a regular science curriculum. Let's say a fourth grade teacher wants to teach about the size of the universe. They can use one of our 6-week courses.
And are they who's training for them?
I don't understand that question.
You do the course, so Hofstra's paying, supporting it, so do you create the course and then you just give it's sold or given to the school, and then the people that are teaching it are just looking
Okay,
at
the course is got video instruction.
it? Okay,
It's all pre-recorded.
okay,
So we are, when Hofstra markets it, we get half of whatever they charge. But I believe we have the rights and we can give it away to whoever we want to. If we want to give it away to other neo-humanist schools is what I'm going to look at next.
okay. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to add before we go on to our third group? All right, now, since you're all very familiar with the layers of the mind, you know that the imagination is one of those transcendent layers of the mind. That's the layer we're going to access now. It's like our best social imaginations. And when you brainstorm, that means don't edit, don't censor, don't think it's not a good idea. Just toss it out there and we'll get as many ideas as we can about what are the different sort of delivery systems that are even possible. We don't have to decide if they're really workable at this point. We just have to get them out there. And I will acknowledge Vishwapriya talked about one that I've been thinking about a lot. It's like, what if I took one of these courses that I took and made like 10 10-minute lectures, mini lectures, and then had a study packet for each lecture, and that a student could totally self-pace. They could do one a month, they could do one a year. And then the people who read, and then have some readings and some activities, but the people who read their work wouldn't be me, but it would be people from the cohort, like mentors, peer mentoring, that would then respond to their thinking. And I think that's just one of like 100 different ways to do it, you know, that we maybe could reach more people by really utilizing our network better. So that's the kind of thing we're asking for. Just imagine a delivery system, no matter how crazy it is. You may decide that the best way to transmit neo-humanist ideas is through microvita. Well, you say that, and then we'll figure out how to do it.
Do you mean, Kathleen, specifically neo-humanist education teacher training?
Well, that's pretty much what we're thinking about. Let's be as broad as possible. How do we get these ideas out there? How do we get excitement generated? Just what you've all been asking. How do we make this happen on a grander scale?
I feel like our groups started doing that toward the end, because Angela brought up some great ideas for marketing and, you know, just spreading the word. So we'll just take it off from there.
Right. Okay. So this is our last breakout group.
Okay, and Rishi, you can go back to that first, you know, the one you used for question 1, not the one for question 2. We don't want to do local anymore. We're doing mixed.
Mixed.
So all the rooms are ready to go?
And maybe try to make sure there's an even numbers in each group. We had a very small group.
Well, that's because we did local, but yeah.
The first one.
Yeah.
So we have Angela, RT, Tapamaya, Kathleen, Mahavir, and Hima Prabha in group 1, Arun, Diyananda Prama, Emma Reka, Vishwapriya in group 2, and Ananda Gunamaya, Ananda Jaya, Ananda Tapati, Ananda Rama, Vishwamitra, and Vishala, myself in group 3.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go. Vishwamitra, are you able to join? Didi Ananda Rama, are you able to join?
Okay, maybe we can just do a round of,
Namaskar din another.
there we go. Oh, Vishamitra's here too. So maybe we can just, everyone that's here, will just do a round of what would be sort of a way to bring this, out and bring, another Ramon left again. How can we bring this out? Just brainstorming ideas about how to bring this out into the community. How to
Teacher
bring. So go ahead, Didi Ananda Gumaya, you want to start?
Yeah, make a center for training teachers, Neo-Humanism Center, establish a center only for training, not our teachers only. Teacher training
So a training
center,
center for teachers, or a training center where you train people to train teachers?
training teachers. Teachers that are teachers already. Like my teacher here, she expressed, because I'm building a school, and the plan before was to be a teacher training also there, and the school will be experimental. So she saw one magazine writing it that in Ghana we are preparing to have a center of teacher training, and she told me, I want to learn, I want to go there, Neo-Humanist.
So establishing teacher training centers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Neo-Humanist.
Humanistic teacher training centers. Yes, go ahead. Didi Ananda isn't going to do it. Didi Ananda Tapati, go ahead.
I would like to start these online courses for our parents and interns, and from there expand, because we have parents from who are working in the embassy, and so the embassies, so they can expand that, and we have parents also working in research in the university. So I would really like uh, to inspire all these parents that we have about neo-humanism, without them thinking that it's a religion, but it's a kind of philosophical education. Because as I said, we have a lot of philosophies. I mean, we cannot even understand everything, but we need a lot of methods to teach to them. So I would start with my parents, because we have already the email of them, and I can just tell them if they want to attend the course, which I want to organize every month, and then see how I can expand from that, because they have contacts. These are international parents,
So a course for parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are parents who are working in the embassies and also who are working research in the university. So touching them, I think it will expand.
Okay.
That's my idea.
So
anyway,
introducing a course to introduce parents to neo-humanism.
Yeah, more deeply, because some of them, they know bits and pieces.
But they don't know more deeply.
Yeah, but more deep, I really want them to know, so that they themselves can be equipped, of the neo-humanistic philosophy.
Okay.
And by doing so, by learning or by doing so, they will be able to inspire more people to humanism, and enroll and inspire other parents to enroll their children to our school.
Okay. Didi Ananda Ramon.
Another one.
Oh, go ahead.
Another idea is going to, because I brainstorm, no? So I'm giving a storm. Another idea is going to give lectures in the teacher university, where they are studying to become teachers. Go and give lectures about different topics, not just neo-humanism, but what we are learning in this training, guiding into spirituality.
So sharing with local teacher university programs. Okay. So someone else, Ananda Rama, Ananda Jaya?
Okay. Actually, we have a lot of theories already. My brain is full of theories, but like we have in the school throughout the year, we have Parents' Day. Okay. In all these projects, we have Parents' Day, and each Parents' Day, we have we ask the parents to participate in some activities. We have parents participating in circle time. We have arts time. So what we do with the kids they do with their parents. So it's happening. It's happening already. But I think need to do something a little bit more. I really have to figure it out in my brain how it should be done. But in practice, we're doing a lot of things with the parents already.
Can
I have an yes.
So I just had a quick question.
Yes.
You haven't figured out how to do it yet, but what's your, like, if you could do it and it was you have the solution in your mind, what would it look and feel like? Well, I'm trying to understand what the outcome that your brainstorm, the idea.
I would like to, I would like to deal with my teachers, to really make them understand more what humanistic education is really. Feel it in their skin, what is humanistic education. Then they can really transmit it into activity. They have an idea. That's why you're doing a lot of really good things with the children and the parent. But I think an in-depth, what I'm doing now? I have Anandi, this American sister married to this Brazilian brother-in-law. They are now doing the work with me, doing the meditation and the yoga in depth with the teachers, with the staff. And I'm really go through it with them more, because I think the group is ready.
Thank you.
To really understand what deeper. It's a deep, but I think now they're ready. And then they told me, Didi, your staff, they're ready, Didi. They're solid. Yes, they are. So I think I'm just waiting.
So
it's in a process.
Deeper dives with teachers and deeper dives with parents.
Yes, that's what I do.
I
don't push, because the parents in the school, they're all Christian, they're all Protestant and all this sect. So it's very strong. So I really, it's very tricky process. You really have to figure out how to do things without touching that issue very bad.
Right. Ananda Rama, you have ideas?
What is the question? Sorry, I missed the question.
We're just brainstorming about how to bring this.
What is the main question?
The main question, I will read it to you, Didi. It says, if I can find it here on my notes.
Using your best social imagination, let's brainstorm how to bring this content to a wider audience.
Social imagination.
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
So it was implied before when people were talking about working with the community.
So I think people like YouTube,
Dada, can you speak louder? I cannot hear you.
I'm on my phone. It may be not loud enough, but it was implied before that involved parents and other people in the community and being activists to get the local school boards to do funding and programming that is supportive of our private neo-humanist schools, to get social activism. In other words, some families have problems with having enough food at home, or they don't have the facilities to support their children at home. It might be a need for some technology for poor people. So getting parents to be involved in social activism to support the schools better with the necessary physical support and financial support.
Okay, thank you. And Didi and Nana Rama, I thought you said something about YouTube.
Yeah, having very good presentation, short presentation, but very, very inspiring on neo-humanist education regularly, like almost every week, at least one, so that people, become familiar with it, and we can advertise it so that we can draw young people, especially made by young people. You know, how they go out into the world and start schools or teach or experience different cultures. You know, the whole bubbling, you know, young age kind of enthusiasm about love for environment and saving the world and activism, everything. We don't have young people to, you know, to run our ideas. Yes.
Thank you, Didi.
Thank you.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
You know, it's been bothering me.
Yes.
Bothering me in the back of my mind. Like, how do we classify what makes it a human skill? Like, because there's a Didi, or is it vegetarian, or something else? Like, what makes it? Like, I've seen a lot of, you know, skin, but no context. Like, I can paint you a dream. I can show you a picture. I can photograph something. But is it true? In the real sense, is it really happening? Like, I asked many times question about, like, I can make a video, I can make it up. But is it true? Like, I'm really looking to the context. More on the context.
But you know, the videos like art or books, anything has also macrovita inside. So those who produce it, you know, they put a lot of vibration in there. And people can feel it, you know, just by the voice, you know, the language you speak and your feeling and enthusiasm you put into it and the honesty, and maybe you compare it with the existing education, what it does to the children nowadays, you know, a lot of garbage, and what we are trying to do, you know, that kind of social consciousness, you know, and that we have 1,000 schools around the world that young people can go to. You know, so that, I imagine that kind of thing, not, you know, just theoretical videos, you know, no, something very vibrant.
Like Didi Deva Priya, she made a video very interesting about neo-humanism.
Yeah, yeah, and different aspects, you know, like not, you know, different, you know, only 3-minute videos, you know.
You're talking about TikTok, Didi.
Yeah, maybe
about
5 minutes, 3 to 5, and some 10, you know, whatever. But it's really the macrovita that counts. It cannot be boring, you know. Once it's boring, the young people, they run, they click. They go by clicks, you know.
But we have to start with small children at early age. You know, they're like little plants that need to be taken care of.
I have another comment about the future of neo-humanist education.
Go for it.
I think that in our future studies with Sohail, we came up with this idea that we need to get the corporate world to help support neo-humanist education. In other words, have large corporations fund the teachers, fund the program, and it could be at any level. It could be pre-K through college. But to get corporate structures to educate them about the advantages of neo-humanist education and get the corporate structure to support neo-humanist education movement.
Yes.
We want to get rid of the corporate structures, you know. I mean, we want cooperatives, not corporations. So how can you, I don't know how to bring the two together.
Well,
I just want to remind everybody that this is not, we're really just visioning, so we don't have to figure out the how just now. It's just what, if there were no obstacles and everything was possible and there were no limits, this is just a chance to imagine what that world would be like.
Okay. That is right. Like if we can inspire the corporate people to support us, to fund us, then it will be so easy. It's like maybe we consider, some people consider them as the enemy because they take so much from the society, you know, and they enrich and they get rich with the resources of the society. But there's a saying, keep your enemy beside you.
Well,
Yeah, for example, we can go to Sri Lanka. Now they, they are totally finished, so go to the government level and make a package of a new education that they can launch. Why not? In some countries it may be ready. Smaller countries.
Thank you, Didi.
Wonderful countries.
well, I invited
They
a
start with
friend.
the smallest ones and then work out.
I invited a friend this morning that is an initiated Margie, but she's not a new mystic teacher, but she's very progressive and she's written a book and she's trying to be in contact now. There are this group of young people that were born into money, right? They didn't make the money, but they were born into it. And they have this group now and they're trying to do social justice stuff because they're born into having money, but they have a feeling about doing stuff that has to do with social justice. So they're just like a lot of the young people that are middle class or or not middle class. And so I think there might be pockets of people that if you inspire them, but I'm terrible at that. I have no idea how to do that. But I think that how are we inspiring people to what would be some ways to inspire people to give in the ways that they can give? And you might hit with people that are inspired to give, whether they're foundations or corporations or young people that are born into wealth or people that can give their time. So that's what, my dream is, I can just share my dream is to be able to like go to a place like Brazil and offer what I have to offer there, to be able to say, oh, I can do show you to do parent circles or go to Africa. I can do parent circles. I can do teacher circles, go to India. Like how do we, the way to bring it out in a brainstorming is to bring these kind of people like Arun and other people and sponsor them to go and train and be in person or be online and be able to support and lift and bring things out.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, let's start fundraising.
That would be practical. That is practical. Then you start understanding the environment where everybody's working. You can understand the real picture. It's best to do that.
We're creating a film, a documentary film about not just our schools, but our medical projects and all, but it could be a film about, documentary about our schools that could be presented to a lot of different groups to garner support for our neo-humanist movement. So a documentary film. And then when you say a documentary film, it doesn't have to be an hour long. There could be 3 minutes. It could be 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, but inspiring films to educate people about what we're doing within our neo-humanist movement.
Well, if you had taken video of a lot of different
good.
little 3-minute clips and post one every week.
Yeah, we'll have some film footage by the end of by the beginning of 2023.
Good.
So I'm just going to share one that's like a dream of mine, which is like having all of the people that are on this call and all the people that participate in all the schools, whether they're a teacher or administrator, like all kind of creating this community to support all of our social efforts. So, one of the things that helps things pop up on Facebook or YouTube is how many likes does it have? How many people are engaged in it? How many times has it been shared? So these are just some very basic things that we'll bring content up for people to even look at it. So creating a community where everybody's participating in that, everybody's liking our Facebook page, everyone's sharing our links. It takes 2 seconds, but that image shows that the value and what we're offering to the community.
Do we have a LinkedIn page?
We do.
So that, in terms of fundraising and corporate, all that, I think LinkedIn is actually better than Facebook.
Namaskar. Sorry, I have to go. Namaskar.
Oh, thank you, Didi.
Me too.
Thank you too.
Thank you, Didi. Thank you so
Me
much.
too. I have to go.
Thank
Me
you.
too. I have to go soon.
Yes.
Namaste. The children are coming now. I need to go. It's
Namaskar.
closing time. Namaskar. It's 4 o'clock. How to do this? My God, how to do this? Now I'm going. Oh my.
You leave the room. Okay, I have to go also. Thank you very much for
Namaskar.
everything.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, Didi, I need to ask you something. I've been wanting to ask you for a long time.
What?
Were you the Didi that came and did Prana Krishnananda at the end of his life?
Yes, I was. Because I'm very close with him. He was my LFT trainer. So he always takes care of me. And whenever he makes this prachar program, he first give them to me. And that's why I became, I was close.
You know that he lived with us at the end and we took care of him at the end.
Yeah, I know. He told me. Actually, when he wanted me to visit him and wanted me to stay in your house.
Right.
But I didn't have time. I had to go back to Iceland that time.
Anyways, I just wanted to say that I remember that, and I remember you from that. And I remember he was so touched by that. So
yeah, I really, love him and respect him so much. He took care of me very much. Wherever he go, whenever he meets me there, in LA, here he came, he always come to visit me. And I gave him, he gave seminars to our teachers here. It was fantastic.
Right.
Anyway, I met you there, and thank you very much. We have such connection.
Yes.
Apart from Baba.
Yes. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Namaskar to everybody, and thank you.
Namaskar, Didi.
Namaskar, Didi.
So happy to see you.
Nada Vishwamitra, thank you.
Namaskar, Didi.
Namaskar.
I hope to see you soon.
Yes, come here.
I'd
I
love
love
to.
your Baba's stories.
You're in Denmark, right, Didi?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're headed back now. It says we have 1 second left. Here we go.
Oh, so nice.
Here we go.
Where is everybody, Rishi? Are they still in the rooms? Oh, here they come.
We had a few people that had to go. Probably 2 out of the 5 of us had to leave it right
It
on.
is 3 o'clock, so let's start right away with Arati. Maybe.
Why does Shafriya start now?
I'll start. Okay.
I'll go
All
second.
right, I'll make this quick. Apparently there is a Didi in Russia using microvita for communication purposes. Her name is Chaitanya, Cetana, and I bet there's an Uchi after the C.
Chaitana.
Okay. For those of you who are interested in the microvita theory. Okay. One suggestion is design a series of small think pieces. In fact, start a series called How to Talk to Kids About ... and when to talk to kids about ... things like global warming, homosexuality, Donald Trump, the war in the Ukraine, whatever, you know.
Great.
And distribute these free. I don't know whether we put them on YouTube or whatever, but as just a, you know, a kind of an intro to us. From, of course, the neo-humanist point of view. Okay. The other is to use the NHE forum to disseminate information about our programs. We have some questions about how you get people to join onto that forum. Another thing is we had a long discussion about Google terms or advertising through Google search, the Google search engine. Because apparently this is a progressive school. Most of 50% of his referrals are through word of mouth. The other 50 are through the search engine, and they
90% are through the search engine.
Oh, 90%? I thought you said 50-50. Okay, 90% are through the search engine, which costs some money, 50 cents a click on a word. And what do you use, about 50 words, something like that, to get you positioned on the Google search page?
You have to specify terms that you think relate to your search and set a budget. And you have to watch to see where you end up, whether you end up on the page 1 when someone does a search for alternative universities, for example.
And they have a lot of diagnostics to provide to see how your program is working. Another suggestion was to create courses for different kinds of what I call stakeholders, so that, for example, you'd create a course for families interested in having their children learn yoga. And you know, you kind of have to use your imagination of all of the different kinds of people that would use the information that we have, and create small pieces of exposure for the internet with those. Perhaps linked to YouTube videos on teaching yoga to children. There's a suggestion of when one student refers a new person to take a class, that we give them some kind of a bonus for the referral. Learning how to use your local newspapers or your local publications for teachers, local however teachers communicate with each other in your local community, to get information out on neo-humanist education. Okay, I think that's it. Reka, I probably missed some stuff, but I'm getting tired. It's the end of the day.
No, that we covered a lot, and at the financial incentive for referrals, I thought was, you know, brilliant. But there was some great thinking outside the box. Did you mention the referral to the Didi who does a lot with microbita? So we answered that one. I didn't know if you mentioned that one.
That was the first thing I mentioned.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, is it my turn?
Rishay or Arati?
Okay,
Either one.
I had a lot of ideas here, so I'm just going to rattle them off here. Organize a local group of parents via the internet and organize an evening presentation on how unique this education is. Have intern students visit the schools. They get very inspired, and then you can guide them to opportunities for getting teacher education. So like, for example, the Denmark school last year, they had 7 students that were intern students that came, and they got very inspired. They're young, they're free, and millennium generation looks at jobs in a very different way. So you could, you know, direct them to existing programs. And send flyers to universities to inform them that there is something called neo-humanist education, and reach out to the young people. you can also give seminars and events for them to attend. In Portugal, they have the youth camps. And then there was this event that happened at the Ananda Market Farm where 400 people came. It was a tremendous opportunity to promote the philosophy of education, but I'm not sure whether it actually happened. See. Oh, okay. So the other was that it would be wonderful to have some of these educators not just do online programs, but to actually show up in schools, because there's something that is so inspiring about the energy of having a live interaction. Creates, really a different kind of energy that is very attractive and draws people. So maybe have some kind of way to spread them around. Okay, now a whole series of good ideas here. Through written material, research articles, academic articles, any kind of articles that promote new humanist education. And you can promote these through lots of different media people like to read. You can offer extension courses at universities. Students are often attracted to something new, something alternative, new approach. So what is new humanist education? Really utilizing social media. For this, you have to get the young people involved, because they really know how to do that. For example, in Brazil, the Proudest have an Instagram page and they present Proud principles in like 1 minute, so you have all of these little, bites that, get spread around, they get liked, and now lots of people, street yoga for homeless people. And through that program, the Margies introduced principles of Proud. So you could, and they really wanted him to come back. So you could, also promote educational ideas or new humanism. There was a lot of emphasis on sharing and dialoguing with what already exists. So a lot of people out there with ecological consciousness and, eco-friendly crowds, and they're all about sustainability and caring for planets, animals, and Earth, but they probably have not heard about the word neo-humanism. So you want to name it and connect, and then expand on that. Then there was the opposite to that, which is to not name it, but to share it in a subtle way, and then later down the line you can name it. Right. So for example, you could do something with a little bit of meditation, and then you have some of your humanist activities, and the ideas get out, people are attracted, and then later you could say, well, you could start talking about the word new humanism. It was more about that. Offer some short-term courses and workshops that emphasize new humanism and place them in the context of things that already exist, rather than starting from scratch and getting together with what already is going on. And then expand it from there. Then there was this thing about, there's a lot of seminars given by whole-timers, and they talk about yoga and they talk about meditation, but they rarely talk about new humanist education. Why not? Education is not limited just to schools. It's a daily process. Education is going on all the time. So they could be at, talk to bring it to their lectures as well, or their seminars. And there's also a big need to bring it to the real world. I mean, a lot is getting shared through the internet and Instagram, but when you bring it to living people, living process, that's also really critical. And then Kathleen talked at the end about something going on in Vermont about bringing the blueprint of Proud and New Humanist education to the Vermont education system without ever naming it. But that this idea of the comprehensive systemic nature of what's going on, and how Proud and humanism and youth education can address the entire thing. And so that's something that we have, is that we really should, we can make more available, because, just showing how all that is necessary to connect the dots, and so share the microvita. And that's what I got in my notes. Did I forget anything? That was
Yeah,
good.
one thing we didn't say, but people talk a lot about the need to write articles, but I would say there's an awful lot written. RIT sends out a wonderful newsletter every 6 months, and maximize the circulation of that by sending it out to all your networks, the link to it. So
And
that's
sending
an easy way to do it. What?
And sending more articles that
Right.
like what you're doing. I mean, there's so many people doing things in their schools and their communities, and we it's one way to get it out is to send them, and we put it in the newsletter. It's a little
All right.
article, but it can go a long way in spreading the word. Okay. One more group.
One more group.
Establish training centers for teachers who are already teachers, doing experiential education, start online courses for parents and interns. For example, those that are working at embassies, those that are working in university research, figure out ways to inspire people without thinking about New Humans without thinking it's religion, utilize any emails that we have of parents, organize international parents, give them a deep dive into it, bringing meditation and yoga into the practice of self-transformation. In-depth yoga meditation focus, YouTube, very sharp and regular, releasing weekly content so people become familiar with it. Draw on the stories of what's being done across the planet already, snapshots, let the young people see what's possible. Again, the comment around bringing microvita into the social media space, leverage the thousands of already existing NHE schools to tell the story through very vibrant videos, maybe including TikTok, getting the support of corporations and nonprofits to fund our programs, and support the structures of the neo-humanist movement. Involve parents to be activists in their social and their local school boards to advocate for neo-humanism. Working with governments, local governments as well, to putting together packages to implement neo-humanism and the structures in the education system in terms of funding and grants. There's the groups of young, wealthy social activists that are thirsty for ways to channelize their family wealth and tapping into them to be advocates for neo-humanism. Leveraging the talents and skills of those that might be retired and support, sponsoring them to go around the world and pass on some of their knowledge at some of the NHE institutions in person. Documentary about our schools to garner support, really short educational videos about the neo-humanist movement, utilizing LinkedIn for fundraising and corporate sponsorships, creating a network where everyone who's involved with neo-humanism is liking the Facebook pages and liking and sharing the YouTube videos, and that covers it.
Wow. Is that all, Rishi?
That's it.
Well, there's no shortage of good ideas. Now all we need is an excess of time to make them happen. So I hope you've heard something today that resonates with a small piece of what you can do or encourage other people to do. Does anyone have any closing comments? I think we've come to the end of our time.
I just want to thank you all for today. It was great being with you, and thank you once again.
Well, thank you all for coming and giving your time. Turned out to be a long day and a lot of listening and a lot of sharing, and thank you all so very much.
Yeah, and we will probably report out at some point, right, when we consolidate everything.
Sure.
I want to thank Kathleen and all of the faculty for such fantastic coursework.
Thank you, Arun.
Much appreciated.
And feel free to, come, tomorrow you have more ideas or you want to get involved or whatever, just, keep in touch. It's an ongoing process here.
All of you keep in touch.
Thank you. Nice to see you all, Kathleen, Reka, and everybody. So
Great to see you,
nice.
Dee
Good
Dee.
to see you.
All
So
right.
nice.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Miss you all.
It's been a long time.
Mhm.
Rishi, send me the link, okay, to the YouTube, please.
I did send it, but here it is.
I didn't get it.
Yep, I shared it. Let me see. 104. Let me see. I'll just put it in the main chat.
You tested it works?
That come through?
Yes, you tested it works? I'm just
Yep.
gonna send it to the Asians immediately. All right.
All right.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Bye.